Hey, welcome back to another What on Earth is Happening discussion. We are on episode number 7. We might get into number 8 as well. I'm here with my amazing and wonderful colleague and son, writer. He is definitely the wind beneath my wings, and I am so incredibly lucky and grateful to be able to have an open and honest discussion with one of the most amazing young men on the planet. And I'm super happy, and you all should be super happy that he is here willing to have these discussions, because not every teen would. And I'll still say you get another year before you're no longer a teen. So, yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, episode number 7, a lot of it had to do with carrying on the barriers to self-realization. So I think that was key. I don't know if you got into, I know some folks will fast forward the announcements, but some of those announcements are pretty powerful, especially with educating on the energy and the knowledge of Nikola Tesla. Amazing. And we need to be studying more of that. What were your top 5 takeaways?
All of the barriers of realization to the true self were very important to listen to. I liked listening to that a lot and understanding it and seeing it, because it's a new point of view to how to interact with other people, because they're definitely locked in to those barriers, and understanding that some people can be stuck with one even if another's totally fine. So someone could only have ego identification while still trying to follow a principle that goes against one of the other barriers. So it makes it harder to kind of to interact.
So let's start unpacking a little bit of this, and let's just go down through the 5 barriers. So you mentioned ego identification, which we should definitely unpack. I think that was like
the 5-sense illusion. That is how much. 5-sense illusion is number 1.
Yeah.
There are only 4 barriers, but he says it like right next to the 5-sense illusion, which is why I was getting confused and thinking that there were 5. But there were 4.
Same here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
the prison of the left brain is another one, and
right.
Institutionalized belief system.
Okay, so let's go then with let's go in with the overall arching concept of what on earth is happening, and that is to I guess the word is educate, even though that word is kind of unraveling for myself as I continue to understand and research nomenclature, which means the definitions of words and the etymology or the history of words, where the words came about, because we have literally been dumbed down to the point where we don't even know what sad is anymore. So in terms of this, there's a fundamental word that he talks about, which is solipsism, and it's essentially what? So believing that there is no truth, or that there is no such thing as truth.
There's no external truth. It's just what you are and what you believe is that, and that is the truth that everyone else should believe. Yeah. Or that your truth is the most important truth.
Which gets us into the condition that we have today, which is chaos. I mean, essentially, even when you were just saying that, I was like, yeah, that sounds like chaos. And then when you have chaos, the thinking is, well, we need to control that. So, but that's all, those are symptoms of that whole piece. And that's why I think the entire podcast journey is about unraveling this mind control. So mind, the thought, the ability, your ability to consciously interact and realize your higher self. And I'll say higher self because he talks about that in this episode, specifically the lowercase s and the higher case s in capitalization, using it as the highest self versus the ego self. And that goes back to sorcery, or will, right? Where he defines the magic or the alchemist versus, and differentiates between that and the sorcerer, between the will. the lowercase will and the higher case will, or the ultimate. So to me, this is starting to unravel even on a deeper level. And I highly recommend and encourage anyone who has at one time listened to the podcast to go back and start again on them and use the transcripts if you can. The links for Dennis is transcribing them, and he has got, just between that and then being able to go and listen to them again, has helped me so much to start to really unravel it at a higher level, writer. So hopefully you will. I mean, this is like a beginning phase for you. You're beginning your journey in life and on this realm of unraveling the reality as we know it, which is uh, to keep going back to the Matrix, but there's honestly no better analogy. That movie really was an incredible analogy, documentary / whatever. But if you start to really look at that, I mean, even now I look at the agents with the Matrix. We're agents. We're all agents in the program, and we don't realize that we've been programmed as agents. We, as the lowercase s, the lowercase will, the lowercase self, because we have been disconnected from our higher self. And that is in and of itself the mind control that has been happening on this planet. That's what I'm seeing. So now let's go back to what you were saying with regards to, okay, the five sense illusion, and specifically, and then you said identification or misidentification with the physical, or the ego and the identity. So those are intertwined. Even though they're separate, they are definitely intricately intertwined. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's riff on this. Give me your take. Let's go through these four and see how it shows up in, well, we'll take it to your everyday life.
I don't see too many examples of the five sense illusion as like the full barrier that it is. It's more the pathway to get to other ones. I think that's the most easy to misinterpret, or the most easy to confuse with something else. Because at least to me, what it just means is that people who believe that if they can't feel it, see it, or something like that, or if they can't actually touch it, if they can't smell it, or if they can't taste it, that it doesn't exist to them.
And yet everyone's believing what they're seeing on the little black box, on the little screens.
Right, because they can see that. So unless they can actually see, actual proof of it, it's very interesting, because it also keeps them from believing anything else, even if they can see proof of it. For instance, like seeing, if you see studies that say, okay, this is unhealthy, this vaccination is unhealthy, and these are the studies that are proving it, they're going to look at it and be like, no, that's not true at all. That's fake.
Because they already have a belief that's
yes.
stopping any other ability for them to actually see anything different. And that it would make them wrong for originally believing.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things you said, right? Which is the first thing you have to be able to do is admit and acknowledge that you were wrong.
Yeah. It's painful.
But if you can do that, yeah.
It is super painful. I've done it. And extricating myself from the deep beliefs that I held in place, I have to use the example of Scientology, because I was so stuck in that. Now, I was majorly invested in it, financially, time-wise, decades, and just, there was such a mind control there. There was no way I could see anything different, but it was built in mind control. And had I not had that experience, I don't know that I would understand how much each of these other pieces, money, just take money alone, just take the banking system, just take, I would never have even been able to understand it had I not been able to first go through the absolute horrific, excruciating pain of, I was wrong with Scientology. I was so bloody wrong. And then with money, oh my gosh, the Fed, and then reading Jekyll Island, and then reading Tragedy and Hope. It's painful. It's so there's stuff that goes on in you physically, emotionally, mentally. You didn't have a lot of that stuff because I didn't push a lot of false narratives, or I tried not to. But you still, I mean, you grew up with my understanding and me then trying to teach you certain pieces, even though I was ultimately trying to get you to think for yourself. This idea that, man, it's possible you're wrong. You're just wrong, man. And that's a hard one. But once you get that, and you understand the feeling of what that feels like, and that it's going to be a painful process, there is no question it brings about freedom. And then you go through, at least this was my experience, you go through a shift where you try to find your footing. And at some point I was trying to find, like, I wanted to ground myself again and connect with some truth, because I still didn't know how to think for myself to know what truth was. So I was reading all these books and studying all these things and looking after the next thing and trying to fit that into my belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what, once that all crumbles, you can't unsee it. And then it's a process. That is why this whole process of what on earth is happening, you may not go through, and you, writer, yourself, and anyone listening to this, you may not go through the same process that many of us have done. And then because we had so many false beliefs, maybe you're just looking for the truth and want some answers, and you don't have a lot of construct that you have to break down. He said something else in there. Mark Passio said, he talked about the matrix again, and he talked about, why are the eyes so painful? Remember?
Yes, because they were never using them in the first place.
Yeah. And that I so relate to with my own mind, because I was so addicted to buying into beliefs with a religion, buying into beliefs with everything about myself. And then it's like, when you shift from thinking based on your beliefs to completely removing that, and then all of a sudden you know how to actually understand truth and see what truth is, it takes a lot of the pain and the suffering and the illusion away. It doesn't make things magically easier. I mean, it's not like I could, now you got to kind of figure out, okay, so now that you have the truth, and now you're starting to rebuild and restore yourself, your higher self, your truth, your consciousness. And it's a process. It is a process, and it's an ongoing process. And I mean, that's potentially a great thing for this old paradigm that I had of, I just wanted to check it off a checklist and be right and make it right. That whole right wrong paradigm, holy crap, I was massively in that. I don't know how much I pushed you on that, but I think I see a little bit of it, a tiny bit of it with you, none with Dax. He's like, there's no I'm right or wrong. It's like, no, there's no you're right and pointing fingers, and it's like, anyway. What's back to the 5 sense illusion? Identification, ego identification.
That one's better. It's easier to talk about because people are really into that. That's the most prevalent one. That and the institutionalized beliefs.
Yeah. So where do you see that showing up in your life?
Just with thankfully not too much.
Your personal life?
Like personally, yeah.
With your friends and, well, I mean, you're in an industry that's got to have massive egos. I mean, we were talking about this with Curtis McDowell, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, I see with other fencers, yes, it's just not as it's mostly. I mean, that's just an example. That's just a person who was in that environment and let it make him who he was. He didn't actually know who he was, and he never will.
Well, we can hope. We can
Right.
hope.
There's people
I
that
have hope for everyone.
you can
I
have
have
hope for everybody, but we already what's the most? I mean, we have the example right now. It's happening right now. That is
I
not
get
going
it,
to
and
change.
I still have hope.
You can still have, but why hope for that when you can hope for something that could change or for
Well,
something that's
that's,
better?
I mean, generally speaking, I
Because,
have hope.
like, yeah, of course, but you want to put your attention.
I'm
Your
not
hope
saying
for something.
specifically to Curtis. I mean, he's
No, I know, I
a
know, but I'm like,
disappointment, but
I'm saying for anybody who, if you have some sort of emotional attachment or if you have some sort of, like you said, hope for something that's just not changing, then that's just delusion. That's going to disillusion.
Thank you very
Because you're
much.
starting to go.
But let's go to the quantum piece, because that's another thing that this is the first time he brought up the experiment of the quantum fields and the quantum reality, and that it is pure potential. That's where I was so like, everything's potential. It freaking is. But if your expectation is that, oh, it's all a crap show and it's all this, then
But
that's what you're going to see. That's what we're
why is
accumulating.
your potential or why are you putting the potential or the energy or the hope on something that or somebody, normally in this case, who doesn't want to change? Because that's basically the same thing as trying to control them. Because you're putting this idea, okay, this is what would be better for you. What are we saying? What are the words we're saying? This is how this would be better for you.
Okay, I hear
And that
you.
is a way of controlling.
I
Even
totally hear
because
you.
it's our belief of what's better. Maybe it is better.
Wait. Is it not? Is it?
It would be better. Yes, it would be better. But not
for
according.
everyone to reach their highest soul potential, their highest self potential, and their highest consciousness. To me, for me, I mean, that's the one thing I get up in the morning and continue to play the game here, is that hope. That hope. If I could reach one person today to help them move closer to their true self.
To help them realize, but you can't put energy towards thinking, oh, this is like trying to share it with them. You just have to they have to figure it out for themselves. Otherwise, it's not their highest potential.
It's why I'm bringing you on and wanting to talk about this first with you, because I want you to reach your highest potential. And I know you won't if you're surrounded and stuck in this in the 5 cents, but also the barriers to self-realization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
right. No, I get that, but it's like, if you think now about how we've been living, and we talked about how this is already so, thinking courage or having the belief in your mind, that is good for a very minor level of something like as a goal, but you cannot put all of your faith into that because matter that doesn't actually exist. So what that is a tool. But if you put too much power on that,
it's a tool.
It's a tool.
Well, exactly. And put too much power. If you're putting too much
then you're
disconnecting from yourself, because you are your wholeness. And
exactly.
That's the thing, is most people don't realize that they are a whole. There are their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions in expression. That's not who they are. That's what they are.
Right. That's not who they are. Those are all independent tools. Those are all. That's what we talked about.
Those they have to come together in harmony.
Exactly. They come, and that's what makes the ego, which is a tool, which is what he said, which is a tool. Because think about what happens if you take a screw gun and you're going to put a screw in a wall. Very simple, nice and slow. What happens if you put all of the power that you have in your house into that screw gun? It's going to strip the screw. It's going to put a hole straight through it. You're going to lose it. You're going to drop it. What happens if you're trying to hammer something? If you do all the force on the first one, awesome. Maybe you get it down, or you split the wood, or you break it, or the nail goes too far down, or you accidentally slip and hit yourself.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, that thank you. That gives me a perspective. This is why I love having these discussions. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Emotion, you are not your emotions by any means. Those are like what he was saying, how it's not.
Let's stay with the hammer screwdriver thing for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
In that analogy,
you have a purpose that you're trying to accomplish something.
Right.
So you have the end in mind. You have the vision in your head. If you sit there and think, "Oh, I'm gonna imagine this hammer being nailed into this wood, into this plank, and putting these two pieces together. I want to sit here and imagine for 5 hours
Well,
straight.
most people are not even going to do
believe
that
it.
because that's the right
But
brain law of attraction.
I'm giving you the extreme. I'm giving you the extreme of I'm going to sit here. I'm going to visualize it perfectly. I'm going to feel it in there. But you never pick up the hammer. Versus you never picking up the hammer, and then it doesn't get done. Versus
all the velocity. So I want to use the velocity that you said, where if you had all the energy,
don't think it through. You just do it you just do what you think. Okay, I need to put this here. Awesome, and then it's done and it's broken because you didn't actually have a goal. It's the two sides of the brain. The left, I believe, it would be the right side of the brain, which would just be permanently thinking. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is
it's creating. I think the right side is more the intuitive, right? The visualization, the creative.
Right. That's what I'm like. I'm visualizing this is how I need to do this. And I'm just going to sit here and visualize this until it happens. But it doesn't happen because here's the thing.
Because you didn't then align
you didn't align your actions.
Yeah.
And imagine this. What do you think happens? Because a lot of people will do that where they think about what they want. And because they're taking so long, someone else comes along and does it. And the work gets done. So what habit is that peddling to these people now? Oh, I can just sit back and let other people do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, it's almost the same as controlling because of your actions, someone else had to come and do it. Because you couldn't do it, someone else had to come and do this.
Okay,
I mean,
so that's a snapshot right there. That's a snapshot of like, okay, if we just took a snapshot of someone's life, someone's existence, we could see that. We could see the culmination of they had an idea, a great idea. They took too long, or they never even took an action, or it was too, and then someone came along and took. And so we see that, and we can see the start, change, stop. We can see the evolution of that. Then we can go way back. Expanding out, and now look at the culmination of all the individuals who now are, maybe they have imagination, but they're disconnected from their ability to do based on fear or whatever, or now what is in their thoughts or beliefs are what has been fed to them and programmed to them through this digital device that we now have. So I'm seeing this with generations who have a phone in front, and so they're being programmed and seeing that. So now you've got that. So now then whatever actions they take or don't take are based on those go back to ego identification, because so they're misidentifying because they don't even know who their original self is. They don't even know who the original thought is.
They have a thought in their head, but they don't know how it got there. That's what I see a lot of. These people who they have an idea in their head, but it didn't come from them, and they don't know where it came from. If it came from them, okay, then you have to have the critical thinking skills to be able to decide: is this thought appropriate? Is it going to harm another? Is it good for me? Is it good for everyone?
Yeah.
And then if you don't know where it came from, you also have to have the critical realization to say, this is not a thought I should be having if it didn't come from me. And I don't know where it's from, then why would I have it? If somebody gives you a thought or an idea and you think about it, it's like, wow, that's huge. That's really good. I'm gonna stick onto that. I'm gonna base part of me around that. That's fine. But that's a lot of people in the Bible don't know where their thoughts come from. They look at only what is being sold to them from a preacher or whatever, instead of actually looking at what the idea, like what the original principles were, or the original.
Which, if we're going to talk about the Bible and bring that up, by the way, those are the two things I was thinking about this. If I were to go through and make a list of the key pieces that I would have done and made sure that you guys had, starting at least probably within even earlier, but at least 9 on, because then you had a little bit more sense of yourself in terms of Rudolf Steiner. You would have shifted out of those the earlier loving and nourishing, where I'd want to have protected that and really built a strong, nourishing connection of your heart and your mind and your soul and your intuition. And I would have really ensured that I helped you master that. And then I would have every single day, opened up Black's Law Dictionary. In an earlier edition, I would have had earlier a dictionary from probably the 1800s that we would read out of every day, and then the Bible, an older, much older King James version, because the Bible is really the King James version, at least, is really a law book, and that is, and that's for common law. That's for God's. That's if we start thinking of that way. I mean, I just think just fundamental things, even just like simple words like job. I got to get a job. I mean, that, or human. If you look in the Black's Law Dictionary, human is actually termed as a monster. And then you go back to the etymology of it. It's like, what? So there's so many things that we can talk about. Persons, that, it's not even, you're not a person. You're not a freaking agent or an organization that is
Right.
transactional entity. It's like, wow, have we literally been off the rocker? So, and then I would say, what on earth is happening? And then follow the breadcrumbs he leaves. That is what I would spend my time as a guide to any youth who is 9, 10, 11, and then on until their scholar phase, moving through the depth of level and really getting into the classics. When I say really understanding what it is, like, okay, tangent again. I'm glad you. Thank you for holding the space. All right. So now let's talk about the role of the third one, which was, what can I think of it?
The role of the third one.
The third barrier, which is
the prison is the prison of the left brain.
Yeah. So prison of the left brain. Tell me about that.
Do you want to describe again? Before that, do you want to describe again what the left brain is? Which part of the brain that is?
Okay. Yeah. So in a couple of episodes prior to this, might have been even the second episode of What on Earth is Happening, Mark goes into how the brain actually functions, and he talks about the right and the left brain. We've heard of this. So this hemisphere, right? There's two hemispheres, and one side controls the creative side. We've heard that if you're right-brained, you're creative. The left brain, you're logic. But if those two are separated and they're not in harmony, then we get imbalance. And when you come into harmony, I mean, this is so interesting. When you come into harmony and let's say you're in alignment, that's where your power comes from. So this is something that I knew deep level from a Sanskrit yogi practice, because as a yogi practitioner and somebody who has used NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically hypnosis, which is basically exactly what they're using. It's mind control, folks. That is where they're literally using the mind and manipulating it. So back to left brain. So the left brain, when it's so focused, all you're thinking about is linear time. There's no ability to create, there's no abstracts, there's no, this is basically, how do I want to say this? Well, they call it, so logical, right? Which to me, logical is okay. I'm very logical. I want to have the facts, but then I also problem solving, all of that. So you can imagine, yes, that's I'm heavily, but if it's imbalanced and if you are really stuck in that,
then you start seeing problems where there aren't problems, and you try to solve problems that don't exist.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Or you start seeing, instead of seeing, I think actually this is really good. If you have an issue with, let's say, you need to paint a chair, but you're left side driven, you're going to see that and you're going to think, oh, well, wait a minute. This part of this leg is uneven. This foot is missing. This crack needs to be filled. These little grains don't match. this needs to be sanded first. This needs to be like, and you're just going on and on and on about this instead of getting, and you don't get it done because you're focusing on every little thing because you think, okay, well, I need to go get some sandpaper. Well, I don't have some, so I need to go get some now, and I need to get these different grits, and now I need to come back and I need to do this again. And now and you start seeing, well, now wait a minute, I have a sandpaper. I might as well, if I'm going to go buy this, I might as well get another thing and try to fix this part of the wall or fix something else entirely. I see that before, like in Dax. Dax was very adamant about this because he would see one thing wrong and then he would go down and try to fix everything around it, and that's where the garage became a mess.
in an extreme way, like
in an extreme way. That's how,
instead of just taking it point A to point B. I think that's more of his right brain imbalance that he created.
The right brain. Well, the right brain, I feel like, would be more going on like, okay, well, which color do I want to make it? Well, let me try which colors am I going to do? Like, okay, I want to paint the chair. Well, these are the different colors. Now let me see what happens if I blend them. What happens if I do this? What if I want to paint it with a bunch of different things instead? So it's not like you're not trying to find solutions to problems that aren't important.
You're just not fully thinking it through.
Right.
I mean, it's a really good example of what imbalance is.
Right. Those are the imbalances. Yeah.
So let's differentiate between an imbalance and being a prisoner to it. So if you're a prisoner of your left brain, what would that look like?
It would look like what I'm trying to. I don't think they're. I was going to give a couple of people, but I don't think they actually were.
Well, maybe this will help. Shift this out a little bit. If you are a prisoner of your left brain, who is the prison keeper? Who created the prison? Why? Why did they create the prison? And do you see what I'm saying? So
yes.
because really being a prisoner of your left brain, there had to have been a prison keeper, right?
So do you think that the prisoner then is yourself that you have let get out of control, or is it is it something outside of you?
Yeah,
that lets you latch onto.
I think that's like the key.
People will latch onto it, right? They'll latch onto something outside of them with their left brain, and then all of a sudden, that's where they absolutely, like with the TVs or with the computers or YouTube or anything. That is definitely a prison for sure, like without question.
If you going back to the original concept of know thyself, but really getting that. Because that's the answer to everything right there, is to truly know thyself, not know it through the lens of what somebody wrote about it, but to know thyself. And that right there. Okay. So let's have that for a moment. Then if that is the solution to everything, you'd have to first close that off. So you not know yourself. The moment you not know yourself, right? That is the moment someone can imprison you.
Right.
Now, we've got both pieces where there's left brain and right brain imprisonment going on. But he brings up left brain imprisonment, right? As a specific piece that was the inability to think, because, okay, let's go back to, was it Pythagoras? You know, the shadows on the wall. Do you remember that? The shadows in the cave?
Oh yeah, when he was in the cave and he saw.
That was the original, at least remember when we read, it was before Euclid's, we were doing the straight edge and it was a geometry book, and it talks about the straight edge, and it talks about how those originally, like Pythagoras and those in the philosopher, they started hiding the knowledge. They started to keep that segregated. They started to stop the ability for others, and they made it secret. And then that concept of the shadows on the cave, that is, to me, the epitome of the prisoner, the left brain imprisoned, because they're just thinking, they're seeing shadows. Everything is the shadows on the cave. So they're not going to leave the freaking cave. And so they're scared by every little shadow thing that to me is the prison of the left. Now, in that, it's because the left-brained prisoner can only see or believes because their expectations are that those shadows are harmful, or that something, that, yeah.
Yes.
So interesting. I love these discussions. Thank you.
That's fun.
So let's go then. Left brain. Anything else on that for you?
Not really. I don't think I'm too heavily one side or the other. I just go in waves back and forth. I'm
Well,
not
ideally,
stuck
you balance
constantly.
them. Ideally, you
I
practice on a daily basis
I have a
coming
good
into
time being in
harmony and
balance, but
balancing.
there are times when I will be very much one side and then I'll go to the other side
So why
to
do you
try to
think that
correct.
happens?
Because when I am training or if when I am exercising by myself, it's very easy. When I'm training, like doing stuff by myself, it's very easy. But when there's others around me, I go to too much one side or the other.
How effective is that for you?
For whatever reason, it does affect. It is effective because it gives me motivation for the next time. Because I recognize after when I'm in balance, like that I'm out of balance, and I didn't like how I was training myself, like during the imbalance. So I'll come back with a better idea.
So if we could freeze
So
that moment of just before and just after of the imbalance, if you could just freeze that for a moment and get exterior to it and observe that. Is there something happening before that pushes you out of balance? Is there a
nothing
habit
outside of
or
me. There's
something
nothing
going
outside
on?
of me. It's
Okay.
purely inside. It's purely
So
my
what is
own.
that?
It's thinking. It's overthinking.
Ah, okay.
Trying to see. So there's when I am in perfect balance, I will have a pure, perfect amount of both solving what other like finding out the right action to do against somebody, and also doing something completely out of reaction. Versus only doing everything based on reaction and just creating stuff, or based around okay, they're going to do this. This is what I'm doing in place of it.
Okay, can you freeze frame each of those? Because you just said the perfect, this was in balance, and this is what is balance.
Mm-hmm.
And how you operate and function better when you're in balance, when they're in harmony, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
now that you have empirical evidence that you've actually experienced that harmony. You've experienced that alignment. So now
Yeah.
let's go and look at what pushes you out. And you said, remember what you said? What pushes you out of alignment?
My own mind or my own like overthinking.
You said overthinking.
Or
Yeah. So overthinking. What does that mean?
that means that taking okay. I know what it means for me, but I'm going to try to. I want to think of a way to explain it in a way that is
You've said
more
it already you already said a couple of these things, and you even defined it when we
right.
were talking about left brain imprisonment, which is trying to
Trying
solve a
to solve
problem
problems that don't
that
exist
don't
yet or don't
exist.
exist at all. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a more
Based on
like
what? Based on some
based on your
either
own idea
earlier
of what
faults,
it is,
based on
or based
shadows,
on your
based on the
own
shadows on the
yeah, the
cave
shadows
wall.
that's stuck in there. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
Okay.
this is pretty useful. So what
Yeah.
could you do? What's now we can balance this.
It's not helpful to say just find a way to bring yourself back into balance in the moment, because I know
We're
that's
going to
just
find
too
it.
hard to do, because it's
No,
just
right.
you
But
by just like trying to like think, oh, I need to reset and focus again. That's the wrong idea. If you're over
but it
analyzing,
comes
because then you're
back to,
focused
yeah.
on one, and then you're just tunnel vision on one. You need to find an idea to completely relax and be present and
Well,
let see what's
now
actually there.
now let's expand out and we'll go right back to the podcast episode. He did the split the quantum experiment. He did the single and double split experiment.
Yeah.
Right? And what was the one thing that changed? What was the one thing? What?
The atoms knew that they were being watched, or they knew that they were being observed.
Okay, there's the key right there. And now this goes back to my pilot your way method that I've been teaching for 20 years.
Yeah.
Remember what the O is in the pilot your way method? O?
O for observation.
Yeah. We have to observe differently. So that's the practice. That's the game.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how all these pieces of the puzzle, I've had so many pieces of this huge puzzle for much of my life and kept gathering pieces. But I didn't understand how the puzzle puts together nicely and to make this. And I'm discovering it now. That's what's so exciting. I mean, I'm literally in this moment discovering and seeing this beautiful mosaic and the potential that can actually occur in this realm. I don't even call it a planet anymore, in this realm, because everything we think about as this planet, and we think we're on a ball, and we think we're on all of that. I don't know if actually I haven't been out in space in a rocket and looking to see if we're in a ball. I have no, but I am not going to believe anything anymore until I know what I know. So let's go back to you, because this is pretty useful directly for you and anyone. With that imbalance, I'll go back to this, because you did Optimize with me when I was becoming an Optimize coach, now Heroic, right? And we saw how there are oscillations where we want to have, like, someone's day, someone's life can be super high, super low. When they are out of balance, that is life. That is what's happening. Super highs, super lows. And then we could come up with a bunch of labels on it, and many diagnoses and whatever.
Right, well, but it makes sense.
We're coming now, it's because of imbalance. And guess what? Mm-hmm. It's been created, and that's the whole agenda. But now we're just looking at the snapshot right here. So now we bring it down.
That's the interesting thing, actually, that because if you have a really, really, really good day or really, really low, like you go back and forth, it's just your body or your mind or your subconscious trying to bring yourself into balance. But because you're so thrown on one end, you go too high on the other end.
Yes, and okay. So you know this from optimizing. This is really important. You now want to bring down those. You want to take those lows that are the lowest of the lows, and you want to raise that to a bare minimum standard. What is that? Yeah. Number one, you get your sleep, right? You're eating well. You're going to fencing and you're practicing with the best coaches. You relocated to move to be in the best location you can be so that you can study and avail yourself of the best. So you have basically created a whole new baseline for yourself, right? There's no way you should be going below that new baseline. And the moment it starts to go there, that's a sign immediately, okay, we got to tweak some things here, yeah? Mm-hmm. So now we've got these super, super highs. What are those super highs? Okay, so let's say you're fencing with the top of the world and you're going toe to toe. Why is it that you've won bout after bout after bout, and then you get into the finals and you lose that bout? What's that? That doesn't make sense, does it? Because you're at a high place, but why isn't that consistent? Well, we have to uncover that too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the amazing ability of an aligned and in balance and powered on being. Now I'm sounding like what I do, which is my business, right? Because good thing that's what I do. However, let's come back to, for you, and unpack this to look at what are you being governed by, that your observations, how can we change the observations? You know, how can we think, how can you think differently about these highs and these lows?
By staying present. And I mean, it's really hard to just say that because I know for a fact, if I'm having a bad day, I can immediately go, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to do this. I need to, I'm outside of my body now. But it was just so hard to do because I don't like doing that. It's like, no, I want to feel annoyed or mad. Like that's the part that's fighting. It's like, no, I want to feel that because that's what I need to feel this so I don't let myself do this again. Or that there's the other part of me that's saying, no, I'm just not going to feel anything at all. I'm just going to recognize that it's outside of me.
Okay, so who's feeling those emotions? Whether they're angry or whether they're sad, who's feeling them?
Ryder is feeling them, but those aren't right. I'm not going to say I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you know who you are.
Right. That's what's outside. It's just the vessel.
And now it comes back to the identification.
Yeah.
And misidentification and the constant misidentification. And that leads to confusion, that leads to this dwindling spiral, that leads to this disconnection of your higher self, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is really exciting because you can use these tools.
Mm-hmm.
The barriers to self-realization. I think somebody's knocking. So the barriers to self-realization are right there. I mean, we can use this as a tool specifically with you in fencing to optimize you so that you can realize your optimal self, right? In all areas. That's what's so cool. We can actually unravel this and unpack this and then take it and use just these simple, if we use nothing else but these simple tools of observing things differently. And then we decide what are the tools that you want to use. Man, this is my freaking pilot your way method. This is so good.
Yeah.
Okay. This is awesome. And I promised you we wouldn't go over an hour. So
we can keep it short today. I will want to say one thing actually, because I know this for sure, now purely from experience, that I remember when I wrote down in my notebook every single day, every single time I took a lesson, I'm going to get top 32. And then I got my first points at the night after that. But like going in and visualizing winning or medaling or like getting gold, it's really, you have to be really careful not to put emotion into that. Because yes, it's important to feel real, but what happens if that doesn't happen? You have to also have the outside. Awesome. You need to be able to stay separate and realize that's fine. I'm gonna push to the next one. Yes, that's a trap. It's very easy to get.
But wait a minute. That's exactly what you just said. Just let's have that and observe that. And now let's go to another individual. Sam or who was the other one? Who's the other one? No, the other one. Not Emmerich's. It's the other one. He's like top.
Oh.
No, they're doing a documentary on him. What's his name?
Oh, a documentary on. Is it Epic Fencer?
Yes, you're with him. You like fence with him every time.
Alex?
Is it? No, it's not Alex.
No.
He's a little tubby. He's a little chunky. I mean, it is sweet.
Oh, Simon.
Thank you. I knew it started with an S. Okay. And forgive me for saying that. It's just he's precious, little baby fat still. Okay. Okay. It's adorable. I'm saying it in a completely endearing and loving way. And guess what? If you had interviewed him, he would literally say opposite of what you're saying, because in his what he's observing through the slits, his potential, his quantum field, is that there is no other option but for him to be gold. Do you understand?
Yes. Yeah.
This is it. That's it. And that's what's so amazing is now you start to understand your true self. And then we just saw the whole left brain imprisonment, because it's that. So once you come into alignment, I mean, this is where this is so exciting, especially when you see both, right? Because I've been watching all of your top guys who where you want to go, and to see what is it that they're doing, being, thinking, feeling, experiencing. What's, so I can understand, mainly so I can know and understand, so that I can apply, so I can support you. That's my whole, right? And so I see that there is absolutely no other consideration. And he doesn't even bring into, well, what if I have an emotion that I'll be upset that I don't, it's like, versus then let's go to Curtis and go like, he's just completely a prisoner of his emotions, right? Completely a prisoner of that, and the effect as a result, and not achieving and realizing his higher self in any way, right? And so this is what's exciting, Ryder, is that now you get to experiment this year. You did it that way. You did it that one way, what you just said. Now, what if you observed differently? What if you thought a little differently this year?
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose.
Right.
Seriously.
Okay.
You have nothing to freaking lose. So what if this whole season you went in with that mindset? That's it. This is the truth. This is right. I mean, and I won't even say the truth. This is what you observed. This is the quantum particle that you are observing, because you're the observer. You get to think differently. Do you see?
Yes.
I mean, I think that to me, that would be pretty useful. And I as to where it's worth utilizing and then going after to really understand that experiment. And if I thought it, my mind goes to what on earth, what the bleep do we know? But it's mainly because the guy who did the experiment was in that movie. And I can't remember his name, but you can get that. Go to what on earth is happening. Go to this episode. Is it episode 7? I keep saying, yeah, yes. We're on episode 7, right? Episode 7.
I think the first episode 8 a little bit was when he talks a little bit more about the same things, though.
So yeah, I mean, this is good that we went deeper on this, because it's so powerful when we start to understand this quantum field and how much we are actually contributing to a universe that's being observed, to everything that's happening that we don't want or that we get upset about. We're contributing to it. Mm-hmm. We are. But don't take it on as blame or regret or shame. Take it on as, how can I start thinking differently? And the reason I want to come and do these with you, Ryder, and then just put this out in the world, is because this is a great tool. This is a useful tool. And I wish I had had it and availed myself of it the moment it came out. And so specifically what on earth is happening is what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, that's what I'll say. That, and then just follow those pieces. Don't get overwhelmed. Take an action, distill it, move through it. So you and I are going to play that game of shifting, being the quantum observer in a different way. Is that, yeah, sound good?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What other things were on that one?
That's mostly it. I think he really took the episodes to talk specifically about, or he's going to take the next few episodes to talk about the barriers, because it's important to understand them. Yeah. So you can actually walk through them.
Yeah, that's super useful. And then really that quantum, the quantum entanglement and the matter, and that we create our own universe, that those can be said in such a glib, ridiculous way, because that I used to say it, we create our own universe, and it's said that way with law of attraction.
That's where it's really hard
until you fully get it.
Yeah.
And then you really, really understand it. And because now you have the pieces that Passio has been building on since day one. You have the pieces of what how your mind actually operates, and how your mind has actually been hijacked, and your thoughts have been hijacked, and your observation, your ability to observe has been. So he's like unraveling that. And I think that this is one of the best bodies of work to actually go through this and understand really, what on earth is happening. Yeah, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Because I see you. I see you
Yeah.
with the gold medal. I see you, and the joy and that brings. It's done. It's already happened. The potential.
And that's the thing that I have to be very careful about. It's just because I guess some points I feel that so much that I start to slip into, wait a minute, I'm not working hard enough to like actually make that now. I'm just letting it. I'm like it's already happened. So okay, I'm going to take it easy now. But no, I'm not doing that. I'm still fighting because I'm living so much in that. Because I have so much time to think that I'm living so much. So I need to think, oh, wait a minute. That's what's it's gonna happen, but I need to still put the time in.
Watch Simon more.
Mm-hmm.
He's nonchalant about all of it. How much does he work out?
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't, because you want to also be healthy. You want to be strong and fit, and right. So, but it's just like a given. It's just like that's what is. That is what is for him in his reality.
Mm-hmm.
And then and it's so true. It's it's funny because there was I dated this guy, and this is a long time. This is in the 90s, early 90s in New York. And I remember him saying he loved soccer. He was essentially football in England, but soccer here, right? He loved what we call soccer here in the US. And he would visualize himself. He would imagine himself being whoever it was, Pele or some major person, right? To the point where people would stop him on the street and think it was him. Now, he didn't necessarily look like it, but you see? And when that happened, that was the shift that was like, that's really interesting. What is that about? And that's when I started looking into Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard talks a lot about feeling it real and all of that. But the thing is, we want it to be repeatable and it's to where it's truth, where it's objectively true, right? Versus this programmed way of, I have to think this way, I have to think this way, or if I don't think this way, it's not going to happen. Instead, it's just, it's now what is. It is now what is in the quantum field and in the aggregate, in the collective consciousness, right? Because we know that they're in the collective consciousness right now, enormous games being played, as the parasite class call them, or the control class, or whatever you want to call them, right? They're playing the game because they have this knowledge and they're using it to manipulate, thus the sorcerers. Mm-hmm. Now, we as individuals get to come back and reclaim our own power, our own energy, and get it back in alignment. I've been working for as long as I can remember to do some sort of that, to inspire that, to bring that. Right?
Yeah.
And who better than to help my own son?
Absolutely.
Tangents again, multiple tangents I've gone off of. Okay, so coaching wise, you and I can work with you on that, and we'll coach. I'll coach you on, and we'll come up with an actual action steps that are tangible, and then you could take steps on. How do you feel right now? Do you look a little different? Is it like, yeah, okay.
That's really good. I really like this.
Yeah,
this is good.
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, Mom.
I miss you so
much. Awesome. I love you.
Okay. I love you too, sweet pea. So Dennis, I don't know if you're the only one, if you're watching. Oops, I missed the chat. Theo. Oh, cool. Thanks, Theo. Sweet. Do you have any questions, Theo? In the last 60 seconds? Okay. Next week, kind of same time, same place-ish.
Yes, I'll let you know. I might have fencing in the morning because we're gonna start training in the morning more. Awesome. But I'll let you know as soon as I do.
We'll make it, and then we'll put it on. I'll put it on so that there's time. I'd love to have maybe there's another gentleman. Derek was going to come on and have a discussion, but let's do number 8 next week.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
On shorter ones that aren't so meaty, we'll
number 8's 2 hours.
Well, they're all kind of 2. There are 2 hours that the commercials come out.
That's true. Yeah, actually.
if we combine them, then we'll catch up on our weeks, because
Awesome.
I do want to get through in 2 years, I want to get through the whole entire podcast with you.
Okay. That sounds good. I love you, Mom.
I love you, sweetheart.
Take care.